Moin, as we say in Germany, in the northern part of Germany, in Schleswig-Holstein, for hello. My name is Kerstin Vieth, and I am the manager of Eutin Castle and Kitchen Garden. And so I have to look to open the presentation now. And it's behind my screen. Sorry. I don't know how to. Do you see something on the screen?
Yes.
Ah, you see it, but not the presentation, I think. The presentation modus.
Now you have to go on Bildschirmpräsentation.
Yes, but it's behind. Now, sorry, there was the panel before. Sorry.
That's it.
And it was fixed.
So from beginning on.
Yes.
From beginning
Yes.
on.
You can see it now.
No.
Okay.
So on I think it's on
now. Yeah, now we will see. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not. Aha.
Will you see it now?
We see a little part of it only. So
okay.
Why don't you stop the sharing the screen and restart? It will be, I think that will be the best. You stop the share screen. Oh, that's beautiful.
Now you can see everything.
Fantastic. You and go from begin on. From begin on.
Yes. Okay. Is it now or is it the small one? Sorry.
It's a small one.
Okay, then we have to do it this way. Sorry.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I don't know why. Because so I will start. I just have to put down the panel. Okay, and so I want to give you a small outline of the presentation. I will tell you something about the location, the short historic outline of Castle and Garden Eutin, about the foundation, and about the revitalization of the kitchen garden and of elements of teamwork. And at first, the location of Eutin, you see it's in the north of Germany, and here's Hamburg, Berlin, Hamburg, and the Baltic Sea, and here it's located nearby Lübeck. Someone knows it perhaps, and the capital town of the county of Schleswig-Holstein. It's Kiel, and in the region of is called the Holsteinische Schweiz, and it's a very picturesque landscape with many seas and small hills. That's the name Schweiz. And also Eutin is a very nice town. And here you see the residence town. Here you see the general plan of the garden. And you see that the Eutin is located at the Eutiner See. And here's the town and the water castle and the English landscape garden. And here is an event stage for the Eutiner Festspiele, because someone knows Karl Maria von Weber, and it's his birth town. And for that, we have the event stage. Perhaps this year there's the opera of Freischütz. Perhaps someone calls the opera, knows the opera. And this huge thing is the kitchen garden. within the landscape English landscape garden. And it's a very strange situation for a kitchen garden, I guess. And you see it better on the aerial view. This is located here. You see the water castle, the English landscape garden, and here is the kitchen garden within the landscape garden. And you see the several elements we have. We have here an orangery, a show kitchen, and the former Pelargonian house. And here is in the middle is the climate wall, the historic climate wall, and here is nowadays more a place for events. And here is the kitchen garden with 10 parcels, and the gardens, theme gardens of the teams of team kitchen garden of the 50 volunteers. So you get a good start with the aerial view and the plan, and now a little instruction for the historic outline of castle and garden to understand the way how it get to the thing we see, the guests see today. Because we have 4 phases of the history. Here you see the western front of the castle, and this is inside, and you see it's a brick Nordish facade outside, and a more baroque Italian Mediterranean atmosphere inside the castle, and that makes it very, very nice. Of this atmosphere. And before it started with a seat of a bishop of Lübeck, and during the Christian Reformation there was a decay, and Eutin was as residence neglected. And then in 1586 there was a historic change that Eutin becomes a seat of the Prince Bishop, and was the second castle in Schleswig-Holstein with a sovereign residence. And so that was a reason for a transformation of the medieval water castle into this Italian style, Baroque palace by the architect Rudolf Matthias Dallin. And also after this was finished, the reconstruction of a Baroque representative Baroque garden area of the garden architecture Johann Christian Levent, but nothing has left. The Baroque garden existed until 1785, but only these prospects, we have 15 of these historic prospects we can show our visitors in the small cabinet inside the castle, and you see how there was how intensive the garden was. So then in 1773 there was a contract of Sascio-Cielo, and for that reason Eutin became a duchy of Oldenburg, and it was then began in 1787 the transformation of the Baroque castle garden into an extensive English landscape garden with the following with the elements we always have today in the garden that the visitors can see. We have a monopterus inside the garden. We have the very nice south facade of the castle with the pleasure ground, and a wonderful alley with linden trees, and it's more than 230 years old now. And here you also see oh sorry, it's too fast. And in these days Eutin was very important, for scholars, poets, and artists. They all visit the castle, like Johann Heinrich Wilhelm Tischbein. He's also called the Goethe Tischbein. And that was the reason that Eutin is known as the Nordisch Weimar in these days. And here, for example, is a nice picture of the landscape garden of Eutin from Strack. And then in 1980, several or the most of the castles in Germany, it becomes a museum because of the end of the constitutional monarchy in Germany. And it became a private residence. And the castle remains as a property for the Dackel family and opens partially for visitors. And in the end of the Second World War was also very important, as many castles in Germany, refugees were accommodated in the castle and lived here up to the 1950s. And then there was a long-term restoration in the 50s and 60s. And in the 60s, it became historical monument, but it was too expensive for the Dackel family, so that in 1992 the public law foundation, the Stiftung Schloss Eutin, was established, and the state of Schleswig-Holstein will continue the renovation and restoration work, and it belongs to the collection, the castle, and the castle gardens. And since 2006, the house is a wonderful museum. And we have 30,000 visitors last year in the house, and it's very, very good visited after Corona. It's the highest figures we had ever. And a very important point now for the garden is 2016. Then there was the Landesgartenschau Eutin in the town. It's something like a horticultural show of Schleswig-Holstein, with the area of the castle gardens and the lavishly restored his kitchen garden. So a few words to the foundation. The foundation has two bodies. It's a foundation council and foundation board, and two chairmen from the administration of Schleswig-Holstein, a state secretary who is responsible for the theme of culture, and also the Duke of Oldenburg. And the managing director is Ms. Brigitte Hermann. And we are 32 employees in administration and museum, of which a half position is mine in the kitchen garden at Eutin Castle. So now to the kitchen garden. As you have seen, there's a flow of from the barrack garden to the landscape garden. And in the time of the landscape garden, that started in 1790, there was the integration of the kitchen garden into the English landscape garden, but it was hidden after or behind walls, and it was protected with trees and the walls not to be seen. And since these days, we have a few elements that have been original. It's the original wall with brick from 1790. That is original preserved. The climate wall in the middle of the kitchen garden, that is very important for the Nordic climate, for the optimization of the climatical conditions. And the two houses that are left, the orangery, that was first a fig house for the cultivation of tropical fruits. Then it was a comedy house that wasn't used for theater. And after 1791, again, orangery. And then we had several other greenhouses here, the geranium house, a pineapple house, and the new Dutch house. And the new Dutch house for the plants from Australia and New Zealand, this is still existing. And very interesting is that there was a connection to first Prince Pückler in Bad Muskau, and the pineapples from Eutin were so good that he ordered some to Bad Muskau. The next phase is from 1980 to 2006. And then there was, because of the change of the constitutional monarchy, the former gardener was working in the kitchen garden, and until 1963, flower and ornamental plant company took place in the kitchen garden, and was clearing up the orchard. Only one tree left there. That is still the old one we have. And it was used as a tree nursery. And also the open ditches were pimped. And in 1970, the nursery was in the end given up. And then the city of Eutin was possible for the maintenance up to the end of the 80s. And then until 1990, it was spruce protection and fallow land. And that was the starting of the revitalization. In 2005, there was a revitalization contest for the kitchen garden, a European one. And the kitchen garden symposium was invented. That was in 2006 and in 2009. In 2009, Susan Campbell took part at the as a speaker at the symposium, and she was in Eutin. And in these days, from the Administration for Historic Gardens and Houses in Schleswig-Holstein, there were park workshops, and there was the refurbishment of the outer wall and preliminary archaeological investigations. So the rediscovery of the foundation of the climate wall, the trenches and pathways. That was they were really lucky that that was founded, and it was the base for the plan. And these things started in 2014 with the reconstruction of the kitchen garden for the State Garden Show in 2060 on the base of the international competition with EU funding. And this is the view now, the pictures you see now are from the nowadays. This is the middle alley, and everything was planted new in for the garden show in 2060. We only had the walls, the buildings, and the one old tree. And it was the restoration of the historical water regime, with the alleys of fruits were planted. We have 150 fruit trees, trained fruit, cordon hedges, goblet-shaped trees, vines, 3 orchard in quincus formation with several fruit trees, and also 10 wonderful information boards about the historic kitchen garden. I wanted to show in the slide before, but I've forgotten, I see, to put it in. And then we had special living furniture and a living fence. And that was, the living fence was the first thing that was built in. And I go back, so you see it here. This is a living fence. This was the first element that was with plants built in it by the volunteers of the Freundeskreis Schloss Eutin and children. This was in 2007. So now the last phase is after 2016, after the garden show of in Eutin. And I call it this is since 2017, and I call it the Lively Show Garden of a Kitchen Garden. And the wonderful thing is that here during the garden show, so many volunteers from Eutin were working in this place that they thought came together, and then they decided we want to go further after the show. We want to work in this garden for the next years. We want to that the garden exists in future for our team. And that was the start for the lively kitchen garden with the 50 volunteers as we have it today. So you see now the plan for today, the English landscape garden surrounding, and the buildings here, and in the northern park, the event place here at the Lustgarten. And then you see the several gardens, and I give you a short overview which gardens we have. And here, these are gardens of the teams of the educational program is number 6 and 7. Number 8 is our asparagus field. 9 is meadow. And 10 is for berries, a place, and 11 is the garden for the refugees. And then you have here the orchards and here the orchards. And now to the volunteers. My work is the management of the kitchen garden with the 50 volunteers, and also with the two firms. We have the two businesses of the handicapped people who are there for the garden, and also other companies. We give them the job to do in the garden. So we have 5 teams. These teams of the 50 volunteers is the medicinal and poisonous plant garden, the orchard with draw fruit, the Hildegard von Bingen garden, the so-called VEN. It's an association of preservation of historic sorts of vegetable and herbs, and the New Roots garden for refugees. And then we have 3 parcels in cooperation with the Sparkassenstiftung Ostholstein. And there is the place for educational fun in the kitchen garden, so that kindergartens from Ostholstein can book a day in the kitchen garden and to get to know to the herbs and the plants, and to harvest them and perhaps to cook with them. And we have some special gardens, a milk garden, the asparagus bed, and a flowering meadow. And the figures are also very interesting. With these 50 people, we have total working hours in 2023 for 2,941 hours, and it's really a lot. And I think it's the minimum of it. And when you and this is the monetary value, about 45,000 euro minimum wage, and I think it's really an astonishing amount what the volunteers do with their days and their hours they work in the garden. For that, with the 50 volunteers, it's a unique project in Germany for the kitchen garden. As I told you, the management of the kitchen garden is the half position at the Stiftung Schloss Eutin. And the Stiftung Schloss Eutin has a budget for 60,000 euro, about 50,000 from the state of Schleswig-Holstein, from the county, and 20,000 from the city of Eutin. And the administration base is the Stiftung Schloss Eutin, the Sparkassenstiftung Ostholstein, and the volunteers. These are the 3 columns the garden works. And it's really astonishing that it's working so good. I'm really happy about it. So I tell you 3 things about elements of teamwork I wanted to take part in. The first one is seeds and market stall. We have a market stall in the garden, and in winter time, the volunteers, especially from the VEN garden, are packaging of seeds, and then in 2 Fridays in March, They give it away for donation in the garden. And you see at the end of the slide the figures in that in 2023 we got no, this is a figure from this year, sorry, 895 during the last 2 Fridays in the garden by give away the seeds for donation. And we always say €1 is we are pleased and more is better. And now, since last year, we also have the seeds in the shop, and so we get new target groups in the shop of Castle Team. And from April to October, we have a market stall with a giveaway of harvested fruits and vegetables every Friday between 15 and 17 o'clock. And the surplus fruit we give to the Tafel Eutin. I don't know how is it called in English. It's for the people who have no money to buy in the supermarket, and they take the fruits and vegetable we have plus. Yes, and so you see the amount for the years, and I think it's really I'm really happy, €2,600 last year, all for donation for the vegetable and fruits we plant in the garden. And here are some impressions of it. This is the Marktstand, so we call in Germany, and you see the wonderful wine and the peers. These young ladies have a cultural cultural year in the castle, and it was very funny to do the harvest of the pears. We had in Germany a pear year last year. The trees were really full with them. So, and the second element of teamwork is the community time. So you see, this is very important to have a coffee break with good cakes and coffee and tea in the garden during the working time in the garden. And so the social exchange and the support with the labors and the knowledge and the ideas and tools, this is very important. Also the exchange with the volunteers of the other groups. And there's also exchange of seeds and plants between the teams. And yes, elements of the social community is meetings of the teams. Fridays we have coffee time together. And in the end of the season in November, we have a season end meeting with technical input, a review of the year, and the annual planning for the next year. And since last year, we have had a donation from Corona sponsoring a uniform vest as a recognizable feature. And they were the vest always. In the next pictures, you will see that they really like to wear it. And we give them also gifts, a thank you dinner organized by the Stiftung Schloss Eutin in September. And we have guided tours. Last year, we had a guided tour through the kitchen garden, and we had a new tour guide. And this year, we'll have a tour through the protected species in the castle garden. They got the new castle guide, free entrance in the castle for the whole year, and we had a photo shooting, and every member got a memorial photo as a gift. That was from the photo you saw at the beginning. And here are some impressions about the elements I told you. This is from the Wests. You see, they are really happy to wear them, and was the as we got them with a date with a meeting with the press and the sponsor of it. And the next one is from the next slide shows a photo from the thank you dinner for the volunteers. It's you see it's the fine dining in the orangery with decoration and no working clothes, and everybody likes to have a nice dress and a shirt to get pretty for it. And we have a wonderful cook in Eutin, and he uses the show kitchen, and so we go straight through the show kitchen to take our meal. And the people, the volunteers really like this thank you dinner. And one thing, Corona was very positive for the team, because it was the only hobby you can do. And before Corona, the teams were divided. Each team was at its own. And since Corona, the community got much better. It's more, we are the team of the volunteers of Castle Eutin. So at the end, technical education is also important. I think it's very important that they learn more, because the next kitchen garden in Germany is about 300 kilometers away. And in the north, it's the garden of Großsteen, Grafenstein. We will hear in the next webinar of the kitchen garden from the summer residence of the former Queen Margrethe, from Queen of Denmark. And we have pruning workshops with the grower of the wonderful kettle trees and the espaliers and the cordons. And also within 5 hours, you have a monetary value of about 1,500 euro, and we learn from them. These are the three. They come from, they are teachers, and they instruct us. And the pruning of wine and the introduction and the irrigation techniques is also important. And in the season end meeting, I give them a presentation about other kitchen gardens in Germany. We have also a network in Germany, and we meet once a year. And last year we were in Kloster Neuzelle, and I showed them pictures of it. And we have a monthly meeting with the team leaders for a joint technical planning. And we have an event, Rendezvous im Garten, we take place. So you see some pictures of the education, the workshop with the groner, and here's the cordon, and here is the kettle trees. And the next one are the leaders of the team leaders, some impressions. And this is the mayor of Eutin. He came in October to visit the kitchen garden, and took a lot of time with the team leaders to go through their gardens. And this is a special thing. We also have saffron in the kitchen garden. It's the special hobby of one of the team leaders, and it's our special gift for special guests to have saffron from Eutin. So at the end, a photo shooting where we have often press in the garden. And so there's often a photo shooting. This guy was very sportive with his job. And so you see the Wests are always busy, not for photo shooting. And I give you an impression about the wonderful photos we have for the professional photograph. This is the team of the VEN. This is the team of the refugees. This is the team you have seen in the invitation of the medical garden. This is the team of Hildegard von Bingen garden. And here we are. These are the 50 volunteers of, not all, but a lot of them, of Kitchen Garden of Eutin. And I say goodbye, thanks a lot, and see you in Eutin. And when you come, we will like to have a coffee break with you, with cake and coffee and a good time together. This is the
Thank
life
you
at
so
the
much.
kitchen garden in Eutin.
Thank you so much, Kerstin. Thank you. Very nice. Yeah, it seems people enjoy themselves in your place. Yeah. Maybe, Kerstin, maybe you can stop the screen sharing now,
Yes.
and in order to answer the questions. Thanks a lot. That was a very nice presentation. Great. Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Yes, so I called it the heart of the kitchen garden of Eutin is the are the volunteers, because nothing will be you can see nothing when the volunteers are not there, and so the community is so important.
Yeah, and you take very good care of the community. Yeah, that's nice. I'm sure there are questions. Who let's say Lucy or Leneke or
Yes, we have some mostly about how you engage the volunteers. Pavletta has asked, is there a volunteer turnover? Do they change very often with new ones coming in, and how do you manage that if
I guess that about 35 or 30 are from the Landesgartenschau from 2016. And each year there are 2 or 3 who come to the team, and it's very nice. Several elderly people who settle to Eutin. It's very often that the elderly settle to their children and grandchildren, and then they have a walk in the garden, and there's they talk with some of the volunteers, and next week they are a kitchen gardener. So it started mostly.
And Leneka has a question, but first, Nella has asked, can you tell us how the leaders of the different teams are chosen?
They are not I'm the manager of the garden for the last 2 years, and I think that they were not chosen. They most of them were started at the on their own. They started really on their own with my former colleague, and in 2017, and they said we want to the kitchen garden to be exist in the future, and so we do it. These are people who say we do it, and we did. They did it, and so the team leaders grow up with the project.
Wonderful. So if people want to join the volunteers, can new people join?
Yes, everyone can join. We also have elderly people who it's not possible to work in the garden, but the lady did the market stellet, because stand and telling is possible, working not. And she's also a team of the volunteers, and we also have younger people and working people who are in their business and only can come on in the evening or in the on weekend. So we are looking for people between 30 and 50. That's right.
Lovely. Leneka, do you want to ask you a question?
I was wondering if you could tell a little bit about the new Roots Garden, how you engage the refugees, because I think that must be quite difficult. People who may not speak the language yet or may not be familiar with the surroundings yet. Can you tell a bit about that?
Yes, that started in 2016, and that was in combination with the city of Eutin, and I guess the team leader, I don't know how it started, but I think he was working for the refugees, and then it came the idea that a garden can also be good for integration. And in the beginning, there was some people from Syria and Afghan people, but now we see the people from Syria are now in work and they settled away. But the Afghan family, it's much harder to be integrated, also with the language and of their roots, because they were analphabets. And it's much more difficult, and it's also difficult to integrate the family, but they feel very safe and they feel very glad to be part of it, and they are really always when we have the dinner, and so they are so excited, and also their children, that they were invited in this place, that they are part of it. I think the elderly mother is always there with 80, and she can't speak German, but she's also a part of it. And it's I think it's wonderful that we also have these people in the garden, even if it is a bit more difficult. But it's a pity that we really had some destroyments, especially in this garden, or vandalism. And there's a struggle between Syrians and Afghans. That's really a problem. So that there's a vandalism from people from Syria, or they took fruits from that garden, especially from that garden, and that's really a problem.
How
A light problem, but it's the only problem we had.
Kerstin, is it let's say this let's say engagement of volunteers, is it something common in Germany?
I guess that volunteers are common in Germany, and especially for sports or social work, and garden is also a theme, but we don't have so much garden associations and volunteers as there is in England. That's but I think it's especially for Eutin and Schleswig-Holstein, because Schleswig-Holstein is a garden county, and there are lovely private gardens, and almost each volunteer has a private garden, and or they had a garden, and now they work there, because people here have huge gardens and they love gardens. I think in other parts of Germany, garden culture is not so a base hobby for so many people, and the value of gardens is here in this part of Germany very they understood the value of gardens, and it's green and it's not so hot, and several reasons for being a gardener.
Thank you, Kerstin. Alexia, can you read there's a question from Catherine Chagnon.
Your microphone, Alexia. Your microphone is, yeah, that's good.
So I have to translate it in English.
Yes.
Alors, quel est l'engagement des bénévoles en termes de temps qu'ils passent au jardin et de régularité? The volunteers, how... Pouvez m'aider?
Sorry?
Yeah, I have so the question is, how much time do they spend in the garden? And at what regularity? Is it every week? And how many hours a week? Or is it already planned?
No, it's it's really free, and that's the wonderful, because if there are the one group of the team with the historic plants, I also have here these wonderful seeds, and I think of this community, they must see each week and on Friday, and it's so important to see and to work together. And 2 weeks ago they started, with them in the garden, and they were really excited, like small children, to see and to work and to start together. And it's so wonderful to see it, because to be together is so important for these. And this is also the group with the eldest volunteers, and I think it's very important for their routines to be together and to share the time and to have a job. And so it is so that's also a reason. And there are others who can't do this. They come only at the weekend, or there's also a couple that comes once a month, or when they have time, and others only for 2 hours in 1 month, and it doesn't matter. It's no problem. It's no problem in the team how often you come. Some teams work together or at a fixed day on time, and others are completely free and they see once a month.
Okay.
But
Thanks,
Kerstin, if you are
thank
so
you,
flexible,
Kerstin. Time is flying. It's very, very. Maybe so. If we can have a last question, and we can keep some for the end, after Renske's presentation also. So no, time is flying. So it's so interesting, Kerstin.
Okay.
So
Yes,
last question, Alexia.
no, I was just wondering, if you're so flexible, how do you plan the work?
The team managers are wonderful. It's not my job. It's really, but the one team leader said she's working, but nearby in an administration, and she comes normally Fridays, 1 hour or 1.5 hours later, and she always give them per WhatsApp the informations, and then they do what she ordered. And she came and see everything is done. And I think the communication with the new techniques is no problem. Everyone knows what to do, and that's the sign of a team.